Welcome to the Sleep Changes After 40 series. In this video, we'll talk about why sleep often feels lighter as we age and why this change is usually normal. Many people over the age of 40 say the same thing. I still sleep for hours, but it doesn't feel deep anymore. You may fall asleep without much trouble. You may even sleep the same number of hours you used to, but something feels different. You wake more easily. Small sounds pull you out of sleep. You feel aware during the night instead of completely gone. And naturally, this raises a question that can feel unsettling. Is something wrong with my sleep? Am I developing insomnia? Is my brain no longer resting the way it should? These concerns are very common and very understandable. But here is something important to know right from the start. Sleeping lighter after 40 does not automatically mean insomnia. In fact, for many people, lighter sleep is a normal part of how the brain and body change with age. What often creates distress is not the sleep itself, but the belief that something is broken. We tend to compare our current sleep to how we slept in our 20s or 30s. Back then, sleep felt heavy. Once asleep, the world disappeared. After 40, sleep often feels more fragile, more transparent, less disconnected from the environment. And because no one explains this change clearly, many people assume the worst. They begin to watch their sleep closely. They worry when they wake at night. They label themselves as poor sleepers. This worry over time can actually make sleep feel even lighter. In this video, we're going to slow this down. We'll explore why sleep depth naturally changes with age. What is happening inside the brain when sleep becomes lighter? And why this shift is often about adaptation, not decline. Understanding this can help remove fear, and when fear softens, sleep often feels easier again. To understand why sleep feels lighter after 40, we need to talk about sleep stages. Sleep is not one single state. It moves through cycles. There is light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep when dreaming occurs. In younger adults, deep sleep occupies a larger portion of the night, especially in the first half. Deep sleep is the stage where the brain is least responsive to the outside world. Sounds are less likely to wake you. Movement around you barely registers. As we age, the brain gradually reduces the amount of deep sleep it produces. This does not happen suddenly. It does not happen at one specific birthday. It happens slowly over many years. By the time many people reach their 40s and 50s, deep sleep becomes shorter and lighter. This is not a malfunction. It is a recalibration. The brain becomes more responsive to the environment, more alert to subtle changes. From an evolutionary perspective, this made sense. As responsibilities increased, children's safety awareness, the brain stayed slightly more on guard at night. This means sleep may feel lighter, but it is not necessarily less valuable. REM sleep often remains stable or even increases, and REM sleep plays a major role in memory, emotion, and learning. So while sleep feels different, the brain is still working. The problem arises when we expect sleep to feel the same as it did decades ago. When expectation and biology no longer match, discomfort appears, and discomfort often turns into worry. Recognizing that sleep stages naturally shift with age is the first step toward easing that worry. As we move past the age of 40, the brain does not simply become tired or weaker. Instead, it becomes more easily activated. This is a crucial distinction. Sleep quality is not only about how deeply we sleep, it is also about how easily the brain can be awakened. This is known as brain arousal. Brain arousal refers to how quickly and how strongly the brain reacts to stimulation, such as sound, light, temperature, or internal thoughts. In younger years, the sleeping brain is harder to disturb. External sounds fade into the background. Minor discomforts are ignored. After 40, the brain becomes more sensitive. Small noises that once went unnoticed can now trigger brief awakenings. Changes in temperature feel more obvious. Even internal signals, such as a full bladder or muscle tension, are detected more quickly. This does not mean the brain is malfunctioning. It means the brain is operating with a different balance between rest and vigilance. From a biological perspective, this heightened arousal is not accidental. As we age, the brain places greater emphasis on monitoring the environment. This was once adaptive, especially when survival depended on awareness and response. The brain does not fully shut down anymore. It rests, but with one eye open. This is why many people describe lighter sleep as half awake. They are sleeping, but the brain remains more alert. Importantly, this type of sleep can still be restorative, but because it feels different, it is often misunderstood as poor sleep. Another key factor is mental load. After 40, life often carries more cognitive weight, responsibilities, decision-making, emotional processing. The brain does not automatically quiet these processes at night. Even when we are not consciously worrying, background neural activity remains higher. This ongoing activity raises the brain's arousal threshold. As a result, sleep feels shallower, not because it is ineffective, but because the brain is more responsive. Understanding this can reduce fear. Lighter sleep does not mean the brain is failing to rest. It means the brain is resting differently. Another major reason sleep feels lighter after 40 involves hormonal shifts. Sleep is regulated by a delicate balance of hormones. As we age, this balance gradually changes. One of the most well-known hormones is melatonin. Melatonin signals the brain that it is time to sleep. It helps promote deeper, more consolidated rest. After 40, melatonin production often decreases. It may also be released earlier in the evening and fade earlier in the morning. This shift can make sleep feel lighter and shorter. Another key hormone is cortisol. Cortisol is often called the stress hormone, but it also plays a role in waking. In younger adults, cortisol rises closer to morning. After 40, this rise can begin earlier, sometimes in the middle of the night. This early cortisol activity can gently pull the brain toward wakefulness, even if you are still asleep. The result is lighter sleep and early awakenings. These hormonal changes are subtle. They do not announce themselves dramatically, but over time they reshape how sleep feels. Importantly, these changes are not a failure of the body. They are part of how the endocrine system adapts with age. Sleep becomes less driven by heavy hormonal sedation and more by rhythm and habit. This is why sleep hygiene and consistency become more important after 40. Understanding hormones helps remove blame. You are not doing sleep wrong. Your body is simply operating under different signals. When we stop fighting these changes, sleep often feels less frustrating, even if it remains lighter. One of the most confusing aspects of lighter sleep after 40 is this. Even when you technically sleep enough hours, you still wake up feeling unrefreshed. This leads many people to assume something is wrong. But the problem is often not the sleep itself. It is how the brain remembers sleep. Sleep is not a continuous experience. It is a series of stages that the brain moves through. When sleep is deep and uninterrupted, the brain forms fewer memories of the night. But when sleep becomes lighter, brief awakenings happen more often, sometimes without full consciousness. Each of these moments leaves a trace. In the morning, the brain recalls these fragments and concludes, I was awake a lot, even if total sleep time was sufficient. This is why lighter sleep often feels worse than it actually is. Another reason is expectation. Earlier in life, sleep feels heavy, immersive, almost like losing consciousness. After 40, sleep becomes more transparent. You sense it happening. You notice dreams more clearly. You notice turning in bed. You notice small awakenings. This awareness makes sleep feel less powerful. But awareness does not equal inefficiency. The brain can still perform restoration tasks, memory processing, emotional regulation, metabolic cleanup, even during lighter sleep stages. However, because these processes are invisible, the mind judges sleep based on sensation rather than function. There is also the issue of comparison. Many people compare their current sleep to their sleep at 20 or 30, but sleep is not static across life. Just as digestion, energy, and attention change with age, sleep expression changes too. Trying to force sleep to feel the same as it did decades ago often creates anxiety, and anxiety further lightens sleep. This creates a loop. Lighter sleep equals worry equals increased arousal equals even lighter sleep. Breaking this loop starts with reframing. Lighter sleep does not automatically mean non-restorative sleep. It means the brain is resting with more awareness. Once this is understood, the emotional reaction to waking at night softens, and sleep often improves naturally. It is important to clearly define what lighter sleep after 40 is not. First, it is not automatically insomnia. Insomnia involves persistent difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, or feeling rested, combined with distress and daytime impairment. Many people over 40 sleep lighter but function well during the day. That is not insomnia. Second, lighter sleep is not a sign that the brain is deteriorating. Neural changes with age do not equal damage. They reflect adaptation. The brain prioritizes flexibility and responsiveness, not shutdown. Third, lighter sleep is not something that must be fixed aggressively. Overcorrecting sleep often backfires. Excessive monitoring, tracking, or forcing sleep creates performance pressure, which raises arousal. Sleep works best when it is allowed, not controlled. Fourth, lighter sleep does not mean you are losing the benefits of sleep. Even shorter or fragmented sleep can still support immune function, emotional balance, and memory, especially when stress levels are low. The goal after 40 is not to recreate deep unconscious sleep. The goal is to create stable, low-stress rest. When people stop labeling lighter sleep as a problem, the nervous system often relaxes and sleep naturally deepens where possible. Understanding what light sleep is not removes fear. And removing fear is one of the most powerful sleep aids available. After 40, better sleep does not come from trying harder. It comes from reducing resistance. Many people approach sleep as a task to complete. They try to force it with routines, supplements, strict schedules, or constant tracking. But sleep is not a performance. It is a biological response to safety. The nervous system only allows deep rest when it senses low threat. This means the most effective sleep improvement after 40 is not adding effort, it is removing pressure. The first shift is psychological. Instead of asking, "How do I make myself sleep?" ask, "How do I make my evenings feel safer for my nervous system?" This reframing alone can change sleep quality. Simple behaviors matter more than complex protocols. Dim lighting in the evening signals safety to the brain. Gentle movement rather than intense exercise lowers arousal. Predictable routines reduce uncertainty. Most importantly, reducing emotional urgency around sleep helps the most. When waking at night happens, the response matters more than the awakening itself. Checking the clock activates alertness. Judging the night as bad increases stress. Trying to force sleep back creates tension. Instead, neutrality is powerful. The brain interprets calm acceptance as safety. This does not mean ignoring sleep issues. It means responding without panic. Another important adjustment after 40 is expectation. Sleep may not be continuous anymore. That is normal. Many healthy adults experience segmented sleep, sleeping, waking briefly, then returning to rest. When this pattern is accepted, sleep often becomes deeper overall. Daytime habits also matter, but not in extreme ways. Consistent wake times help anchor circadian rhythm. Exposure to morning light strengthens sleep drive. But perfection is not required. Sleep improves when life feels manageable. The paradox is this: when you stop chasing sleep, sleep often comes closer. Lighter sleep after 40 is not a failure. It is a transition. The brain changes how it rests, how it protects itself, and how it responds to the world. This does not mean sleep is broken. It means sleep is different. When people stop fighting this change, anxiety decreases. When anxiety decreases, sleep improves, not by force, but by permission. The goal is not to sleep like a teenager again. The goal is to rest well within the body you have now. And that is not only possible, it is common. If this feels familiar, you're not alone. In the next video, we'll explore why waking up at night becomes more common after 40 and when it's normal. You'll find it right here in this playlist.